Let me recount the day we, the Galactic Federation, committed our most colossal blunder, inviting humanity into our ranks. I was right there, Admiral Tech Rob Bluefin, as we hovered above Earth in the Star Seeker, a vessel of awe-inspiring design, gleaming silver, and pulsating energy. The Council had orchestrated this event for decades with a simple directive: impress them, show our dominance. It will be effortless. You see, I belong to a species humans would label aquatic aliens. Originating from the oceanic depths of Hydros Prime, we are known for our judiciousness. Yet, even I was swept up in the fervor. That day, my gills fluttered with foreboding. On the bridge, Council leaders and Bright Scale, adorned in shimmering robes, commanded Admiral Bluin, engage First Contact Protocol Beta 7. Our approach was meticulously planned to dazzle. Fleets arranged above major cities, energy shields activated for dramatic effect, broadcasting our grand narrative of peaceful superiority. Our expectations? Utter human awe or chaos. This strategy had succeeded on Proxima B. Instead, we encountered Barry from New Jersey. As we delivered our anciently crafted message, Barry's live stream broke through, beer in hand, critiquing from his basement. "Yo, those ships look like disco balls with engines slapped on." The Council froze. My own struggle to stifle laughter must have been quite the spectacle, with gills and all. Far from the anticipated panic or deference, humans bombarded us with something utterly baffling. Memes, tens of thousands of them. Our cultural team scrambled to decode the flood of surprise Pepe faces sent in response to our diplomatic gestures. Council leader Bright Scales flickered wildly as he exclaimed, "This is unprecedented. Admiral, why do they not react as other species have?" Maintaining my composure, I suggested, "Perhaps, sir, our concept of primitive requires reevaluation." Predictably, the Council dismissed my counsel. They preferred their narrative unchallenged. Amidst their hasty, high-level debate on the bridge, our screens flickered not with data, but with human cat videos, our secure communications compromised with alarming speed. Junior Ambassador Lumi Bright Weaver, a recent Academy graduate, protested, "But our intelligence indicated their technology is rudimentary at best. They still rely on combustion engines." The unfolding scenario was as perplexing as it was humbling. What was meant to be a demonstration of superiority became a lesson in human unpredictability and the power of underestimation. It's concerning because it demonstrates their ability to rapidly adapt and optimize even in scenarios that are not immediately life-threatening. Admiral Bluin interjected, trying to convey the gravity of the situation to the increasingly dismissive Council. Their capacity for innovation and improvisation could be indicative of a potential for unexpected military strategies or unconventional problem-solving that could pose a challenge in diplomatic or conflict situations. High Counselor Vista Moon Whisper scoffed at this. "Admiral, you're overestimating their ingenuity based on trivial pursuits. Speedrunning a game is hardly a basis to assume they can outmaneuver the strategic might of the Galactic Federation." Admiral Bluin, however, was not convinced. His gills flared subtly as he responded, "With all due respect, High Counselor, history is replete with examples where underestimating a less advanced opponent led to significant upheavals. Their focus on achieving efficiency in non-traditional ways and their collective obsession with competition and achievement, even in leisure activities, could translate into tactics we are ill-prepared to counter." Nick Starweave, still cycling through shades of agitation, added, "And let's not ignore the social implications of their technologies. Their ability to connect globally in seconds and mobilize collective action via platforms we initially dismissed as frivolous could be a powerful tool in both resistance and warfare." The room fell silent for a moment as the holographic displays flickered with images of human social media campaigns that had indeed changed the course of their political landscapes. The Council members shifted uncomfortably, perhaps beginning to grasp the broader implications of human unpredictability and resourcefulness. Splash Commander Ripple then chimed in, "Moreover, their concept of cryptocurrency and the digital economy represents a shift in value creation and exchange that we haven't seen before. They've decentralized their economic systems in ways that could make traditional sanctions or economic pressures less effective." Council leader Bright Scale, visibly annoyed but somewhat pensive, finally acknowledged, "Perhaps we need a more nuanced understanding of their capabilities and cultural drivers. Let us consider a more strategic engagement rather than outright dismissal or underestimation." This decision marked a small victory for Admiral Bluin and his team, who understood that the real strength of a civilization often lies in its ability to innovate and adapt, qualities that humans clearly possessed in abundance, even if they were applied in ways that the Federation found perplexing. The Council's initial response to the human challenge was a mix of arrogance and ignorance, but as they would soon learn, humility often precedes understanding in the dance of interstellar diplomacy. The day we delivered the Galactic Federation's ultimatum to Earth was a spectacle of hubris and miscalculation. As Council Leader Brightscale rehearsed his grandiose declarations, I reflected on the unfolding absurdity. The Federation, with all its might and ancient wisdom, was about to be humbled by a species we had barely begun to understand. Brightscale's performance was rehearsed to perfection, each gesture calculated to convey dominance. Yet, as he stood before the communication array, broadcasting to billions of human screens, the response was not fear or submission, but amusement and mockery. The Earthlings had already turned our diplomatic blunder into entertainment, remixing our messages into music tracks and spreading memes faster than we could monitor. In the background, NAXS hovered, her color palette a rapid oscillation between frustration and despair. The humans had not only disregarded our threats, but had creatively co-opted them into their digital culture, effectively neutralizing our attempts at intimidation. The message that was supposed to bring Earth to its knees instead went viral as a comedic spectacle. The most damning revelation, however, came from our field agents on Earth, those who had decided to defect rather than return. They reported a society that thrived on innovation and resilience, a civilization that treated our superior technology as another frontier to explore and adapt to their own ends. Our agents were not just going native, they were becoming advocates for humanity's ingenuity. Council Leader Brightscale, oblivious to the real dynamics at play, continued his broadcast, his voice booming across space and into the homes of a species that had long since learned to find humor in adversity. "You will bow before our might," he declared, unaware that his image was being superimposed onto dancing cat videos in real time. The Council, watching the feed from the bridge of the Starseeker, still believed in their own narrative of supremacy. They saw the human laughter and disarray as signs of a disorganized species, not realizing that beneath the chaos lay a sophisticated tapestry of cooperation and creativity. When Junior Analyst Bubble Wave Crest burst into the chamber with reports of human stories about defeating alien invaders, the Council dismissed it with a wave of a hand. Let them dream of victory, Brightscale chuckled, confident in the Federation's technological edge. Yet, as Earth responded not with surrender but with a global festival of memes and celebration, it became clear that we had underestimated not only their capabilities but their spirit. Humanity didn't need to fight us with weapons. They were dismantling our threats with their culture, turning our shock and awe into the punchline of the universe's biggest joke. As the ultimatum broadcast concluded, with Brightscale still striking poses of authority, the reality slowly dawned on the rest of the Council. We had not delivered a message of domination but had initiated the most public and embarrassing diplomatic failure in Federation history. And there, amidst the cosmic chuckles and earthly satire, I realized that perhaps the true test of a civilization's greatness wasn't in its ability to enforce submission, but in its capacity to understand and adapt to the unexpected. Humanity, with its memes and games, its pizza and persistence, was teaching us that lesson in the most unforgettable way. The day at the United Nations building in New York was supposed to mark the culmination of the Galactic Federation's dominion over humanity, an assertion of our unchallenged superiority. Instead, it turned into a lesson in humility and the resilience of human spirit. As we set up our most advanced holographic displays, the kind that had previously left entire species spellbound, we anticipated a similar reaction from the humans. The Council members floated above their designated seats, radiating authority and power. The human delegates arrived, led by Ambassador Maya Blackwood, whose composure was as unshakable as the ancient monoliths of Mars. Her indifference was palpable, akin to my distaste for those lifeless meals aboard the Starseeker. Council Leader Brightscale initiated the proceedings with a declaration of human inadequacy, only to be met with stifled laughter from a junior human ambassador, a sound quickly masked by a poorly timed cough. Undeterred, Brightscale continued, outlining the dire consequences of human resistance, only to be interrupted by Ambassador Blackwood. Her interjection, pointing out the cliched nature of our threats reminiscent of an old Earth film, immediately shifted the atmosphere. The comparison not only undermined our stance but highlighted the absurdity of our approach. As Brightscale struggled to maintain his composure, turning a deep shade of purple, the real-time reactions of Earth's citizens were flooding in. They were not the reactions of a species overwhelmed by fear, but of one reveling in the spectacle we had unwittingly become a part of. Splash Commander Ripple informed me with a tremor in his voice that humans were not only watching but celebrating our declaration as a form of entertainment. The global engagement was not in dread but in mockery and amusement. Humans had set up live streams, watch parties, and even interactive games predicting the ineffectiveness of our threats. As Brightscale attempted to regain control, demanding access to human technologies, which he had just scorned as primitive, Ambassador Blackwood's retort about the very same technology technologies underscored the irony of our demands. It was at this moment that young IGN Bubble Wave Crest's laughter, although muffled by her breathing apparatus, perfectly encapsulated the Federation's blunder. Bright Scale's final attempt to impose a deadline by the day's end only added to the confusion, with a quick-witted human delegate questioning which of Earth's numerous capital cities he referred to, given the planet's rotation. The query left Bright Scale flustered and without a coherent response. As I stood there, witnessing the unfolding debacle, it became painfully clear that we had not only underestimated humanity's technological and strategic capabilities, but also their cultural resilience and ability to find humor in the face of adversity. What was intended as a display of our supremacy had instead showcased our ignorance and arrogance, broadcast live across thousands of star systems. This was not just a diplomatic failure, it was a profound misjudgment of human nature. Our approach, rooted in intimidation and coercion, had failed spectacularly against a species that thrived on cooperation, innovation, and, as it turned out, an unparalleled penchant for satire. As we retreated, licking our wounds, it was evident that the day we tried to subjugate humanity would be remembered not as a triumph, but as one of the most humbling moments in the history of the Galactic Federation. As Admiral Tech Rob Bluefin, I bore witness to the unfolding debacle that was our attempt to assert control over humanity, an attempt marred by naivete and an underestimation of human ingenuity and resilience. Positioned grandly above Earth in our flagship, the Star Seeker, we were poised to display the might of the Galactic Federation, yet we were met with a response that was as unprecedented as it was humiliating. In the Grand Assembly Hall of the United Nations building in New York, we deployed our most impressive holographic technologies, anticipating awe and submission from the human delegates. The council members floated above their seats, a display meant to convey superiority and power. However, Ambassador Maya Blackwood, leading the human contingent, was unimpressed, sipping her coffee with the nonchalance of someone watching a mundane performance. As Council Leader Brightscale initiated the proceedings with a declaration of human deficiencies, the atmosphere was punctuated not by fear, but by muffled laughter. The snicker, poorly masked by a junior ambassador, was the first sign that our message would not be received as intended. Undeterred, Brightscale pressed on, threatening subjugation and demonstrating our power, only to be interrupted by Ambassador Blackwood, who pointedly asked if his speech was a recitation from a script, likening it to a Hollywood disaster film. Brightscale's complexion shifted to a flustered purple as he asserted the seriousness of our mission, but Blackwood's query about the fate of the aliens in that film further undermined his authority. Behind the scenes, our younger officers were already panicking. News had reached us that humans were not only watching but celebrating our so-called threats as part of a global watch party. Memes were proliferating and bets were being placed not on if, but how humans would triumph. As Brightscale made a desperate bid to assert control by demanding access to the same technological facilities he had just scorned, Blackwood's eyebrow raise and pointed question highlighted the absurdity of our position. The laughter of IGN Bubble Wave Crest, though stifled, resonated as a clear signal of our crumbling facade. Attempting to salvage the situation, Brightscale set a deadline tied to Earth's sunset, only to be met with a logical yet cheeky question about which of Earth's many capital cities he referred to. The scene encapsulated our failure, a misunderstanding not just of human technology, but of their culture and spirit. Reflecting on that day, as we hovered in orbit, our initial confidence dissolved into a profound realization of our misjudgment. Earth was not a primitive world to be subjugated, but a complex society capable of turning an interstellar threat into a spectacle of defiance and humor. The day we planned to bring humanity into the fold of the Galactic Federation instead ended with us retreating, a lesson learned in the power of underestimating a seemingly less advanced civilization that thrived on resilience and unity. This was not just a diplomatic failure, it was a pivotal moment that reshaped our understanding of power, culture, and the indomitable human spirit. As the Galactic Federation's diplomatic flagship, the Star Seeker hung ominously above Earth, designed to impress with its gleaming silver exterior and dynamic energy fields. We were poised to demonstrate our superiority in a display intended to dazzle and intimidate. Yet, the Council, despite their meticulous planning and grandiose expectations, was unprepared for the distinctly human response that awaited them. From the command bridge, adorned in his ceremonial robes, Council Leader Zen Brightscale exuded confidence as he ordered me, Admiral Bluin, to initiate First Contact Protocol Beta 7. Our strategy was clear: display our technological prowess in an overwhelming show of power by positioning our fleet in striking formations over Earth's major cities, our shields shimmering brightly. We anticipated fear, awe, perhaps even admiration. Previous encounters, like the one on Proxima b, had followed this script meticulously, with the indigenous populations reacting in predictable, subdued awe. However, Earth was different. Instead of of panic or submission, the interruption came in the form of Barry from New Jersey. His casual demeanor and irreverent critique of our sophisticated ships as resembling Grandma's disco ball collection was broadcast across our channels, supplanting our message of peaceful superiority. The council was left momentarily speechless, and I had to suppress laughter, a challenging feat for someone with gills. As we awaited a more typical militaristic response, humanity surprised us again. Rather than deploying weapons or showcasing fear, they bombarded us with memes, a concept our cultural analysis team struggled to comprehend. The images of surprise Pepe faces that flooded our systems were not acts of defiance we recognized. Council leader Bright Scales shimmered through a spectrum of confusion and frustration as he questioned why the humans were not reacting as expected. When I suggested that perhaps our understanding of primitive was misguided, the council was dismissive, choosing instead to rely on their preconceived narratives over the evolving reality. This arrogance pervaded the emergency session convened on the bridge, where the council debated in the midst of streaming human cat videos, another element of Earth's culture that had quickly infiltrated our systems. During this session, Junior Ambassador Lumi Bright Weaver expressed incredulity at the humans' seemingly rudimentary technological state, citing their preoccupation with weather and combustion engines as proof of their simplicity. Yet, it was Splash Commander Ripple's observation that shifted the perspective slightly, albeit not enough to sway the council's overall stance. He noted that humans invested heavily in what they called gaming, with extensive battle simulations, an aspect of their culture we had initially overlooked. The council's dismissal of this point highlighted a critical error in our assessment of Earth. We underestimated the complexity and adaptive nature of human engagement with technology and strategy. Their ability to meld entertainment, communication, and community engagement into their responses to our presence showed a sophisticated, albeit unconventional, command of digital and cultural warfare that went far beyond our initial assessments. This misjudgment underscored a fundamental flaw in the Galactic Federation's approach to humanity. Earth, with its uncolonized moon and seemingly backward technologies, was not a planet of primitives to be easily overawed or subdued, but a complex, vibrant civilization whose technological and cultural nuances were far more intricate and resilient than we had anticipated. The real lesson of Earth was not in its supposed technological inferiority, but in the innovative spirit and defiant humor of its people, a lesson that would redefine our understanding of power, influence, and engagement across the cosmos. Admiral, we need to understand that this isn't just an anomaly. It's a pattern, I insisted as the council convened to discuss the disturbing update from the observation team. The gravity of the situation seemed to hang in the air, yet some members still clung to their preconceived notions about Earth's inhabitants. The deployment of the observation team was supposed to provide us with deeper insights into human society, to substantiate the council's claims of human primitiveness and justify our governance over them. However, the outcome was starkly different and pointed to a significant underestimation of human adaptability and complexity. Field Agent Spark Thunder, a veteran in covert operations, was chosen for his ability to blend in and extract information discreetly. The loss of contact with half of his team was alarming enough, but the outright refusal of the remaining members to return sparked a mixture of concern and disbelief among the council members. What do you mean they refused to return? Council leader Bright Scale demanded, his scales flickering with irritation and disbelief. From the communication we managed to retrieve from Agent Thunder, it became clear the Earth environment is unlike any we've encountered. There's a vitality and chaos here that is both overwhelming and exhilarating. We've been accepted into their community, seen their innovations firsthand, experienced their cultural expressions. They're not just surviving, they're thriving in ways that defy our models. We're learning more here than we could from any surveillance. We've decided to stay to continue our studies. The council erupted into heated debate. They've gone native, one member sneered. It's a contamination of our objective. Or perhaps, I countered, trying to steer the conversation towards a more productive channel. They've discovered that humans are not the backward species we presumed them to be. Maybe we're facing a civilization that's simply different, not inferior. Nick Starweave, now more composed but still showing tinges of blue, added, their capacity for rapid adaptation and innovation is something we've never planned for. Our own people see something in humans that we've missed from our high orbit. This isn't about them adapting to us. It's about what we could learn from them. This suggestion did not sit well with everyone, especially High Counselor Vista Moon Whisper, who viewed it as an affront to the Federation's superiority. We are here to oversee and guide, not to be influenced by a younger species, she asserted firmly. Yet, the fact remained that human culture had a peculiar resilience and ingenuity that had ensnared even our best. The speedrunning, concept Nick had brought up was emblematic of a broader trait: humans' propensity to optimize and innovate rapidly across various fields, often turning limitations into launching pads for greater achievements. Perhaps, I mused aloud, instead of trying to subjugate or dismiss, we should be observing and perhaps even engaging with them on an equal footing. There's a reason our team chose to stay. They saw potential where we saw lack. Reluctantly, the council agreed to a new approach. We would establish a more permanent presence, not as overseers but as participants in an interstellar exchange. This decision marked a pivotal shift in our strategy, from viewing Earth as a conquest to recognizing it as a source of untapped potential and knowledge. The lessons from Earth were just beginning, and they promised to reshape our understanding of not only humanity but also our place in the cosmos. This was not a defeat but an unexpected opportunity, one that could only be realized by embracing the complexities and capabilities of a species that had proven its worth far beyond what our initial arrogance had allowed us to see. As the Galactic Federation's delegation took their positions, floating with calculated dignity above the United Nations Assembly, the tension was palpable but strangely one-sided. Our technology was at its most impressive, holograms that shimmered with the threat of power, meant to awe the primitive civilizations into submission. Yet, as the human delegates entered, led by the unflappable Ambassador Maya Blackwood, their calm demeanor suggested an audience not to a display of alien might but to a spectacle they found mildly entertaining. Council Leader Brightscale, adorned in his regalia, commenced the ultimatum with a voice that boomed throughout the chamber. People of Earth, heed this declaration. You stand on the brink under the gaze of the Galactic Federation. Submit to our authority or face consequences of unimaginable scale. His scales flickered with a spectrum of colors intended to signify his authority and the seriousness of the situation. Ambassador Blackwood, her expression unreadable, listened intently, her calmness a stark contrast to the animated display of the council. As Brightscale detailed the terms of Earth's submission, detailing the technological and military superiority of the Federation, the atmosphere among the human delegation remained unexpectedly tranquil. The real twist came when Brightscale confidently declared, "Your primitive weapons and strategies are known to us. Your resistance is futile." It was at this point that Ambassador Blackwood finally spoke, her voice steady and clear. "Council Leader, with all due respect, your understanding of our planet seems outdated. We invite you to reconsider your position, not out of fear, but for a genuine dialogue." Her offer caught Brightscale off guard, his colors momentarily dimming. Behind him, the holographic displays flickered as if echoing his confusion. It was clear that the humans were not reacting as anticipated. They were not cowering, they were engaging. As the council deliberated on this unexpected turn, Axis, still visibly troubled, whispered to me, "They've been preparing for scenarios like this for centuries. Through stories, simulations, and even their entertainments, they've turned the concept of an alien invasion into something almost familiar." Indeed, the human response was not panic but a poised readiness for dialogue, perhaps even conflict, should it come to that. The humans had not only absorbed the idea of alien contact but had also culturally digested it to the point where it was part of their global consciousness. Brightscale, struggling to maintain his composure under the unexpected resistance, paused. Then, in a less commanding tone, he suggested, "Perhaps we might arrange for a series of discussions. We are, after all, here to foster understanding as well as to govern." Ambassador Blackwood nodded. "We welcome that, Council Leader. Let us show you our Earth, not through conquest, but through cooperation." As the meeting adjourned, the council members floated down from their positions, visibly shaken by the human response. The Federation had approached Earth with threats and displays of power, only to be met with an invitation to dialogue, an outcome that was both a diplomatic setback and a profound lesson. The events of that day would echo through the Federation, serving as a stark reminder that power might awe, but understanding and respect win allies. The humans had turned the table with their preparedness and composure, proving that even the mightiest of federations could stand to learn from those they deemed primitive. And as for us, it was clear that our journey with humanity was just beginning, filled with potential for unexpected lessons and perhaps eventual mutual respect. This question from the human delegate seemed to momentarily stump Council Leader Brightscale. His intent to impose a deadline based on Earth's rotation betrayed a lack of understanding of human political geography, a fundamental miscalculation for a species that prides itself on galactic dominance. Brightscale's scales shifted through a spectrum of colors, signaling his frustration as he grappled with the logistics of his own threat. He tried to recover, stating, "The capital city of your United Nations." Then, his voice, however, lacked its previous authority. Ambassador Blackwood, unfazed and sipping her coffee, replied with a slight smirk, "That would be New York, which is where we currently are." "So, By sunset today, we're already prepared to discuss this further, but not under threats. The room filled with murmurs from the human delegates, some suppressing smiles, others outright chuckling at the oversight. It was clear that the Galactic Federation had underestimated the complexity and resilience of Earth's political and social structures. Bright Scale, realizing the faltering impact of his command, turned to me with a look of desperation. I nodded subtly, suggesting a retreat to reassess our approach. The Council, however, was not yet ready to concede. High Counselor Vista Moon Whisper, sensing the shifting tide, quickly interjected, "Let us not haste. We are here for a peaceful integration of Earth into the Galactic Federation. Your cooperation is vital to this process." Ambassador Blackwood set down her coffee, standing to address the room. Peaceful integration doesn't start with threats or deadlines. It starts with mutual respect and understanding. We invite the Federation to join us in talks, not as rulers and subjects, but as potential partners. The Council, taken aback by the poise and diplomatic skill of the human representative, paused their predetermined agenda. It was becoming clear that the humans were not the primitive beings they had assumed. Instead, they exhibited a level of sophistication and cunning that matched, if not surpassed, many of the Federation's member species. As the meeting adjourned, Splash Commander Ripple leaned over and whispered, "Sir, maybe it's time we really listened. Their culture, their resilience, it's not just about survival. They thrive on the very challenges we thought would intimidate them." Back on our ship, the Council convened in private. The mood was somber, reflective. Bright Scale, his pride bruised but his mind open, finally conceded, "Perhaps it is we who must adapt. Their unity and spirit, it's impressive." From that day forward, our strategy shifted from one of dominance to diplomacy. The humans, with their unpredictable ways and unyielding spirit, had taught us a valuable lesson in humility and respect. They were not just another species to be absorbed into the Galactic Federation. They were a formidable new ally, capable of contributing to the cosmos in ways we had yet to fully understand. The Federation's approach to Earth would now be one of collaboration, recognizing the planet not as a target for conquest, but as a peer in the vast universe.